what are we seeing right? Well, you know what? Before I ask about the actual conditions on the ground, we had a New York police officer, New York City police officer. We played a video clip of him saying, President Trump, send in the National Guard. We have no leadership. We're being handicapped here. Can you speak to the importance as a cop of leadership within your own police department, within your city, the backing of your mayor or having your mayor against you? Can you speak to that?
Yes, I could. It is very, very important that the political leadership in a city stand shoulder to shoulder with their police officers who are doing their jobs according to law. What we saw happen in Minneapolis is a tragedy beyond belief. It made us all sick. And those police officers certainly deserve to go to prison for a long time. But saying that, we have seen the legitimate and very passionate protest regarding the death of Mr. Floyd get hijacked from those individuals in this country who serve no purpose but to attempt to tear down this country. And they're attacking police, they're beating police, they're shooting police. And you have a mayor in the city of New York, and you have Governor Cuomo actually criticizing the police. And I got to tell you, when the mayor of a city or a governor of a state decide that they're going to publicly announce that there's going to be investigations regarding these protests, and then say they're investigating the police, that runs a chill up and down the spine of police officers nationwide.
Stephen, I don't understand why anybody would be a big city cop these days because of this situation, because of the condition of our cities. I get the calling to be a cop. I get the calling for a life of service. Why do it in a place like New York City right now where you know you don't have, nobody has your back. You're on your own. Basically, you're with your fellow guys, and that's all you've got.
Well, you're absolutely right. And, you know, we hear a lot today about defunding the police. I think LA is going to be doing that. They won't have to worry about defunding the police. There's going to be nobody left to join the police ranks. Recruiting to begin with was at low levels. I could imagine what's going to happen now. And believe me, it's an honorable profession. It's a great profession. It's the police who are honorable people in an honorable profession. But you know what is not the honorable so-called profession? Politics. These politicians are not honorable people. And they're the ones that have planted the seeds of divisiveness across this country, not the cops.
Have you seen this ramp up, or are we just seeing it on the news ramp up? I mean, you had this long career of 8,000 years of service in various every service you could possibly do. You've done it. Have you seen it get worse in recent years, or are we just now noticing it because of social media and everything else?
Well, it's a great question. I have actually seen improvements over the years in my 38-year career. The introduction of community policing, of the introduction of getting the clergy involved with police departments in the community. You got 800,000 police officers, law enforcement officers in this country. And when you see an incident like this, the media seems to just focus all its attention on the bad and none on the good. But I'll tell you, I was able to trace this back as to how this all began. I mentioned this last night to people. If you go back to the 60s, there was a desire for the people of this country to get God out of our lives. Schools began to talk about socialism being better than capitalism. There was you didn't learn about civics anymore. You didn't learn about the pride of American history. You didn't learn about the men and women who fought in World War I and World War II. And think about this. When we see Iwo Jima, right? We all seen the Iwo Jima, the Marines putting the flag up. You know what we don't see? We don't see their ages. 17, 18, 19-year-old kids that fought for this country, getting shot down in B-17 bombers. A couple days from now, I think it's tomorrow, June 6th, right? We're going to be D-Day. They're going to be celebrating and honoring the D-Day veterans. So my question is, and here's a chilling question for even you to think about, if we ever end up in a war, a real war, will these young people stand up and fight for their country like they're fighting the police on the streets here? And by the way, they're also fighting the black community, the white community. They're fighting all of us. For what reason? Well, the seeds were planted way back about socialism, and now we're reaping the rewards of those seeds.
Stephen, do we still have systemic racism with the police departments in black communities, especially in these urban centers? I'm focusing on these urban centers because we're not seeing these riots outside of America's major cities. Is there a systemic police racism problem? I don't want to be ignorant to it.
No, there is not. And the statistics prove that. You will find through research, and by the way, research by black researchers, they explain that more white people are shot by white officers than black people are. You find that there's white cops and black cops and all kinds of cops out there who are treating people fairly and decently, saving their lives. Let me give you an example. Chicago, every single weekend, people are being murdered in Chicago, shot to death. Well, it's black on black crime. I mean, that's no secret. The cops, white, black, no matter what ethnicity they are, they want to go in and help the people. They want to go in and stop crime. But unfortunately, the political will is just going off on the sidelines. There seems to be no desire on the part of these politicians to go and help the people. So when we talk about racism, indeed there are racists. There's racists in all professions, but certainly it's not an epidemic, not at all.
What role do you give the media for all this nonsense? It just seems to me like all they do is pour gasoline on the fire and make sure people are angrier and angrier and angrier.
Well, you know, I've seen the media as you have over the years. I remember the days of Walter Cronkite. He must be like rolling over in his grave right now. There used to be something called journalism. It doesn't exist anymore in this country. Every time we turn the TV on, and CNN and MSNBC especially, they're adding fuel to the fires of racism. They're not doing anything to help heal the country, to help bring people together. Now, they would argue that point. But, you know, when you turn your TV on and MSNBC and CNN are constantly chasing down rioters to interview them, where are the interviews of the police, of the cops on the front line that are getting spit on and bricks thrown at them? So, you know, it's right in front of us. And there is a very serious socialist agenda being advanced in this country. And here's what I tell people. Talk to someone who was in Venezuela. Talk to someone who lived in the Soviet Union. Talk to them about socialism that leads to communism. And that's the road we're going down if we don't put a stop to this now.
Stephen Rogers, thank you for your life of service, for your comments tonight. I appreciate you, sir. Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.